Okay, so this video should be fairly quick because Phillips curve does not introduce any new ideas or concepts really. It's only a new way of looking at something that we already know. And to show you what I mean, I'll just take a look at the AS-AD diagram. So when aggregate demand rises, we already know that employment rises along with price levels. So employment and price levels rise together. Since employment and price levels rise together, by logic, unemployment, the opposite of employment, is inversely correlated with inflation. So if it's led by AD, if the economic changes are led by AD, then when unemployment rises, then inflation should fall. And when unemployment falls, then inflation should rise. And this is, of course, led by AD going down or up, as can be seen on the graph. So with this information, we can actually make a new graph. That graph is the Phillips curve. It only uses patterns and trends already seen and described right now, but it looks at it in a new way. It looks at the links between employment and inflation. So here on the y-axis you have the inflation rate, and on the x-axis the unemployment rate. I just have it at the benchmark 5% unemployment rate. So you have long run Phillips curve here, and you have the short run Phillips curve here. They're abbreviated as LRPC, SRPC. And changes in AD lead to a point shifting across SRPC. For example, right now we're here at the center, but let's say if you move up here, at this point here, you can see that the inflation rate has gone up, but unemployment rates have fallen. In other words, price levels have risen, but unemployment has fallen. So, hold on, let me just clear this up because this looks a little messy. So therefore, you can see that SRPC movement along SRPC to the left is just really AD shifting right. It's just looking at the effects of changes in AD. So also, by that logic, if it returns back to its original point over here in the center, then inflation rates fall, price levels fall, and unemployment rises, so employment falls. So really, same information shown differently. It's looking at the specific effects of changes in AD. And the same way you can look at AS in terms of inflation and employment, you can also look at AS instead of AD. But instead of shifting along SRPC as a whole shifts either right or left. So here, as you can see, if SRPC shifts right, if it goes up, then inflation rates go up. Therefore, a rise in SRPC correlates with a fall in AS, because a fall in AS is what will make price levels go up. So if SRPC shifts left or down, inflation rates go down, meaning AS has gone up, since that's what's going to make price levels fall with regards to AS. So here, I wrote down the relationship between the two for you, but really don't try to memorize, oh, okay, so if AS goes right, then SRPC goes left, and if AD goes down, then there's movement along SRPC to the right. That's a lot to memorize. If you know how to read the graph, that's why I spent so much time just like repeating myself here, because if you know how to read the graph, You don't have to memorize this. If you know how to draw both of them, just think, okay, so if inflation rates go down, that means AD went up and AS went right. So just think, if there's a shift or a movement along SRPC, just think about that and correlate that to either AS or AD moving. And then you should be good. As long as you remember how AS and AD affects inflation and employment, and then translate that to this new graph.